Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. I hope this video finds you all doing well. Today, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend. It's BigSpin back on the channel and #1 in the world. BigSpin, how you doing, man?
Hey man, I'm doing really fine. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Super happy to have you back on the channel. Every one of my comments, it seems like the last few days, you've been dominating the top of ladder using a graveyard deck that is absolutely phenomenal. And everybody's been asking, bring BigSpin on, bring BigSpin on. So I'm super happy to get you back on the channel, man. This is the deck that you've been using lately, and you love it. Notably, having the Rascals in the deck. Man, tell me about this deck and tell me about the Rascals in the deck.
Yeah, so this deck was created by me on stream a day after the Rascals came out. I directly maxed them and I directly believed in the card. I think that the Rascals are a really, really good card. Like the best card that has been released for the few months after the Royal Ghost, and I can't really see why certain pros say that card is trash. And I also see the tendency that other pros are also recognizing that the card is really good. It has for 5 elixir, like the girls make so much damage and they are lock bait and they really have synergy with certain decks, especially with graveyard.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, so I'm glad you did first, but a lot of pros out there are hating on the Rascals, and I'm with you, man. I mean, obviously, the proof is in the pudding for you. You've been dominating with it ever since the day that you first played it on stream. But beyond that, I think that the community is divided. Some people think they need a buff. I mean, I guess you would welcome that, right? but they are a really strong card. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to play this deck, but not everybody out there, probably the majority of you guys watching don't have Rascals right now. So if people don't have Rascals, what would be a good sub for them in this deck?
Rascals in this deck are like pretty essential if you also have the Spear Goblins in, but if you don't necessarily want to play with the Spear Gobs, you can also put Zappies in for Rascals and the Royal Ghost for Spear Gobs. This deck also works really well.
Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, well, what I want to do is I want to start out by playing you. Let me go with Lavaloon.
Okay, fine.
Is that cool? All right.
Yeah, it's like also hard, but it's fine. Oh, yeah.
All right. Good luck. So this is well, okay. I'm not even gonna say anything. Here we go. So tell us about the Lavaloon matchup. What are you trying to do? Obviously, you don't generally know that I'm playing it right now, but once you identify that I'm playing Lavaloon, how do you play it?
Lavaloon matchup is generally also pretty hard for me. I have to get a good cycle at the beginning, and then I have to hope that my opponent makes some mistakes, which are mainly that he puts himself out of cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And what he needs to do is like, of course, I don't want to give you tips, but if he
here's what you need to do, Ash, to beat me. Okay, no, just tell me. I think I suck badly enough that I'm still gonna be challenged here. So what do I need to do? I mean, what?
So you have to, if you put your Lava Hound on the field, you definitely have to wait with the Lava Hound until you have both minions and guards in cycle. That was a really good fireball, and you have to basically just play pretty safe, and then if you have both of those cards in cycle, you can just go in with Lava Hound and Lavaloon and Balloon, and I can't do too much.
Okay, so as a Lava Hound player, I want to get Lava Hound, Balloon, guards, minions, all in the same hand.
Yeah, that's like a good hand, and also probably a fireball, because as you can see, I am trying to push with Rascals and Graveyard every time you use the Lava Hound, because it's a pretty good push even if you have minions or guards. But if you have the Fireball and one of those cards, it will be really hard for me if I don't go in straight away when you set the Lavaloon to do the damage. Because
so now I have the combo here, but I'm not going to be able to defend this time, I don't think. Well, thankfully I have that Graveyard. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have the minions and I can't poison it, and
I got you. And then I can go in like this.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, and that's also what's probably gonna make me lose.
Okay, we'll see. Isn't this nice to be invited on BigSpin and I play all the tough matchups against you? Isn't that beautiful?
That's really, really cool.
What a great guest, right?
I get sniped.
Hey, how about this? How about I play you with a good deck, and then all right. I still think you actually have a good chance here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have a good chance, but like still, it's not too easy for me.
That's why my subs like it so much. Stack the odds in my
Okay,
so
that
heavily
was
in
really
my
good for
favor.
me because you said the Lavaloon, Lava Hound, and now I can push with the Ice Golem, and because I push with the Ice Golem, I also can afford a Poison Spell, which will clear your minions, and you have to set the guard so you don't have really much elixir to support your Lava
Exactly.
Hound.
So I can't support this push. I will fireball that though.
Yeah, that makes sense, but now I have the
Yeah.
Mega Minion.
Yep. And
Okay,
look at
that
you're
was
gonna
a...
do some serious damage to my other tower
Yeah,
here.
that's good for me because I almost wanted to say you should care about your right tower, but now you have that problem, and I can just lock your guards away, and that should be it. Yeah.
There
Good
you
game with that.
go. That's how you play it, man. Okay, so this is what I've noticed during both of those replays is that you play the Rascals really aggressively once your opponent makes a kind of a medium or a heavy elixir commitment. So what I'm trying to say there is when I drop that Lava Hound or when your opponent, I forgot what deck it was that I saw you on the replay. I think it was the Pekka deck. It was yesterday. You played,
Okay.
remember Mana Deep?
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw that whenever he dropped a Pekka or whenever you thought you had like a really big elixir lead, you went boom, Rascal's Graveyard, like right at the bridge. And I noticed you did that to me too on the Lava Hound matchup. Can you tell us a little bit about that? About when you're going Rascal's Graveyard, the whole 10 elixir push.
Yeah, that's like a key thing to know about this matchup indeed. This deck kind of depends on this push depending on the opponent's deck. So against Pekka, for example, you always have to look what the opponent has once against Rascals and on the other hand against the Graveyard. And for example, if there's a Pekka player who has like a Royal Ghost, you want to go in with Rascals and Graveyard if he doesn't have the Royal Ghost on cycle as he puts the Pekka behind. Because if he has like Royal Ghost and minions in cycle, he will just play Royal Ghost for your Rascals and minions for your Graveyard. So against giant players, I basically always put the Rascals in the back unless I have a massive elixir advantage, because I know that I need the Rascals in defense and can't go counter push with 10 elixir against giant decks. It's like heavily dependent on the matchups.
Yeah, I get you. So for dummies like me, BigSpin, is it a safe rule that you're only going to be playing the Rascal's Graveyard against like maybe heavier beatdown decks like Golem and Lava Hound?
Yeah, that's like a kind of good rule because unless you are in a massive elixir advantage, it doesn't make sense to commit 10 elixir at the bridge.
Okay, or if your opponent maybe overcommits in the opposite lane, you can hit him with that or something in tower trade. Okay.
Exactly.
Hey, do you want to go through some of these matchups that you shared?
Of course.
Awesome. Let's start with the one against Dmar.
Okay.
I think like third one down, because we just did the Lava Hound, so we don't need to watch that one. So let's press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
So what would you say is the ideal kind of starting hand and starting plays with this deck?
The ideal starting hand is like either Spear Gobs or Tombstone, because you want your opponent to make the first move and react to that and generate an advantage either of cycle or of like trooper advantage when he commits into your lane.
Okay, what is the big... I mean, obviously you want to figure out if they have poison, right? But like, besides figuring out if they have poison, are you just like looking for, as far as information that's valuable to you, are you just trying to play defense and cycle while you figure out what type of their cards could punish your graveyard?
Yeah, I really need to figure out what his deck is really quickly, because it also depends. For example, against Lavaloon, I wouldn't play Spear Gobs, Mega Mini, and then Rascals, because he would just play Illuminati at the bridge. So I need to quickly figure out what deck he has in general, and if he has poison or not is like not the most important thing, because I will still do the same graveyard pushes even if he has poison. So it's more important to see what his push capabilities are and how he can counter my combos.
Okay, so you just went in for your first graveyard push. You got some damage, not a ton of damage, like a third HP off that tower. What are you looking for? What are the key factors that you're kind of observing during your very first graveyard push?
My first graveyard push, if it happens in single elixir time, I really look, am I at an elixir advantage or am I at a cycle advantage? Can he even counter the graveyard, or does he have to overcommit to kill either my Ice Golem and graveyard or my Rascals and graveyard? And on these choices, it's mainly like on cycle choices rather than on elixir choices. But of course, Elixir is also very important. I wouldn't commit 10 Elixir at the bridge, as I said, if I don't have Elixir advantage.
Yeah, and you can see you played defense just fine too. What role does the here we go with another graveyard push. Kind of talk us through what's going through your mind right now.
Yeah, I know he doesn't have poison because he committed is offensively, so I know I will definitely get him to place troops into my graveyard, and he does, so I have also have the poison and I get value and damage, and I know I can defend that giant player even if he sets a giant in front of that, because I have Tombstone, I have Rascals, and this clears graveyard really well, this clears giant really well. So yeah, this time I commit another. This time I know he has poison, but I want to bait out the poison because I know that he will not get through with that prince against Tombstone and Rascals, so I can just defend this and have the backup for another graveyard push.
Wow, that was smart. So you saw, like, if we walk that back, I'm going to pause at 10 seconds. Pause. Okay, so if we walk that back, you saw him drop the prince in the back. You knew you had a Tombstone already down. So your thought process, and correct me if I'm wrong, was, okay, he's getting prepared for possibly a big giant push in the right. So you put some pretty serious pressure, an Ice Golem in a graveyard, so 7 Elixir devoted to the left lane, even though you knew he had poison. And that was partially because you knew you could defend against the charging prince, and he wouldn't probably wouldn't be able to support it with a giant, big push in the right. Well, he does go with the giant, but not much after that.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's exactly my thought process.
Okay, cool. All right, so I press play again, and we're resuming. So he's barely even touched you at this point. You've got to be feeling really good about this match. So when you have a tower down to, in this case, 878, are you still playing things safe? You only have a minute to go here. Like, what's your mentality at this point in the match?
At this point, I know that I'm gonna win if I just play pretty safe. I don't want to to just out-poison him. I still know that I'm probably gonna need some graveyards, and poison, simple poison probably won't do it if he plays really aggressive. But I still just am like, play pretty defensive, but also take the chance, as you can see now. I have the next graveyard, and I know he can't do anything. Yeah,
he came at you with a giant Royal Ghost in the right lane, basically his last final push against you, his last hope to beat you. And immediately you were just like, forget it. Ice Golem graveyard, boom, that's it. And is that a decision that you find yourself making often with this deck?
Yeah, definitely. If I see that there's basically no risk for me not getting this tower, giant players, especially giant Double Prince players, do that really often. If they see that's their last chance, they try to apply pressure so that I have to defend and I can't take the tower. But in this situation, I just knew I'm 100% gonna take his tower with this final push, and I don't even need to defend that giant push anymore.
Okay, let's go into the next replay against the Chinese guy from Illuminati. Before we press play, I just wanted to ask you as well, BigSpin, about the role of the Tombstone in this deck, because I know like previous iterations of Graveyard had the Goblin Hut. Why do you prefer Tombstone at 1 elixir less to the Goblin Hut?
And the actual matter is Tombstone is my opinion, by far the better card. In this deck, it's it serves the purpose of killing princes, so Prince and Dark Prince, killing troops that have a high single target damage, kiting giants, kiting golems, and the damage of the skeletons that pop out of the Tombstone once it's gone down is like really high, and it's also a poison bait, which is really way better than the Goblin Heart. It's a lock bait, which this card just synergizes way better with this deck than the Goblin Heart.
All right, let's press play in 3, 2, 1, go. If you do have Tombstone in your starting, like, look at the starting hand. It's a perfect question for you. Are you going to start with Tombstone most cases?
Yeah, I'm always going to start with Tombstone because it's like
neutral play, right?
The opponent has to react. It's 3 elixir, and he doesn't have to react straight away, but most opponents feel like they have to react. Also, although the Tombstone doesn't really apply pressure, he doesn't do anything. Most opponents make the first move then, and if they run into a Tombstone, basically every play besides Pump is not a good play.
Yeah, you know what? You're totally right about that. But I never really think about those things. Okay, so you have a big, or not a big push, but you have a little push coming at you in the left. You're going to be
Yeah.
able to deal with that fine with just Rascals and Log. I do want to ask you again about Rascals. One final question about Rascals is, you did mention against other matchups, you're playing them in the back. So talk a little bit about the synergy between Rascals played in the back. Where are you splitting them? Obviously, you're splitting the boy Rascal into the graveyard lane or the tower you're doing damage. But beyond that, when you're splitting in the back, what's your thought process there strategically?
I'm usually like I honestly rarely split them in the back. I just set them in the
Okay.
back like I do. I
Oh,
did right
same
now. I
lane.
set yeah in the same lane exactly. Because I
Okay.
don't think that one Rascal without any support will do too much. I think yeah exactly like I split them there. I don't think that they. I think that the boy just needs two Rascal girls to be really effective, and splitting doesn't make sense unless the opponent applies dual lane pressure too. So.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I actually thought the same. Me certainly a very very far from like a pro player, but I thought the same thing. I thought that I saw like some people early on splitting them a lot, especially like in the challenge, and I thought that it's kind of just wasting because you're just throwing
Yeah.
away a girl. She's not going to get a ton of damage.
Exactly. You have to imagine like in most situations you won't use the girl on the one side anyway because you will almost never have the opportunity or the elixir to apply so much pressure on both sides
Yeah.
that the girl gets value.
Absolutely. So here we go. Here you haven't really gone in for a graveyard yet. Here, this is your first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Maybe you did before.
Yeah, no.
So you waited till all the way until double elixir to go in with this graveyard, and you do get a lot of damage here, and you get some poison value. So
Yeah.
this is a good example of you being patient with the graveyard and not being
Right.
super aggressive early. Why was that?
Those decks, I call them spam decks with many small troops, and the Infernal Dragon are like really, really dangerous if you put yourself out of cycle in the early game. So if I go in with a graveyard and I don't have elixir to defend his push, then he will quickly be able to get into a good cycle or into a permanent elixir advantage, and I don't want that to happen. So I waited until I have a consequent graveyard push with a poison if necessary, and you see that just worked.
Yeah, man, you're playing this matchup really well, and people at home might not even realize how difficult this guy's actually playing the deck really well.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
he's putting a lot of pressure on you too.
Yeah.
When you're cycling, you talk a lot about cycling, and it's such a nuanced and tough concept to really grasp. Can you explain it, maybe cycling and how you do it well in an easy way to understand and good game, by the way?
Yeah, cycling is basically about the principle that you play a card and then you need 4 cards to
Get back.
4
to
different cards after that to get that card back onto your hand. And with like graveyard decks, you really have to take care about the opponent's cycle, especially in the offense, because yeah, you have to realize that the troops that he plays, even if he has many troops against the graveyard, you can just catch him out of cycle if you realize that he doesn't have the cards in hand that he needs to defend the graveyard. So, for example, if he plays Lavaloon and he plays minions and guards, and then he plays a Lavaloon, you are almost guaranteed to get a good graveyard push down with Ice Grim and graveyard, because you know he doesn't have the cards that he needs to defend the graveyard because he hasn't played 4 cards after those.
Yeah, it was well put, and it's definitely it can be confusing at times because you have to concentrate on both your defensive and your offensive cycle. So like, what are your key cards you need, and how do you quickly get there? BigSpin, thank you so much. Do you have any update? I never even asked you about this, but do you have what's your status for CRL? Are you playing for a team, or has it been announced, or?
Since I have a job apart from YouTube, I sadly can't participate. So yeah, that's not an opportunity for me, which is pretty sad because like playing for such great teams has like always been my dream, if you can say that. But yeah, the job and the I don't know, you call it like
career, real life.
Yeah,
we call it real life.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Nah, man, that sucks. That does suck. But maybe in a future season or something, if your circumstance changes, or maybe if they have like a more centralized European location or something, or in Germany, I don't know. But it's a shame. But you're definitely one of the best players in the game. Is such a frequent requested pro, and you do such a good job at explaining the decks and your decision making. I just want to thank you again for coming on the channel and give a huge shout out to your YouTube channel and your Twitch streams. I have actually a pretty decent size German audience. They're my 4th biggest audience, BigSpin. Pretty surprising,
oh, wow,
huh?
okay.
Yeah, so a lot
impressive.
of passion. Yeah, a lot of passionate German viewers out there. So you guys obviously should already know BigSpin, but just in case you don't, check out his information in the description below. Furthermore, I want to put out a quick call to action to all my non-German speaking subscribers to check out BigSpin's content, because even on his YouTube channel, even for the gameplay, if you can't understand what he's saying, it's really, really top notch, and I think that you guys would all enjoy it. BigSpin, anything else that we should know about before we let you go, man?
Yeah, I would really enjoy if you step by my channel, my Twitch stream. Although I'm doing this in German, I guess you can really learn something of the gameplay I put there.
Yeah, and if people speak to you in English on your stream, like I'm sure you say hi and stuff, right? It's not like you just
yeah, definitely,
awesome.
definitely. I answer those people also on stream. So if you have questions, you can stop by my stream and I will answer yours.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the channel. I'm really glad that it worked again.
No problem. Me too. All right, guys, that is going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Always a pleasure to have BigSpin on the channel, and I hope you learned a thing or two as well. Even if you don't have Rascals, try that Royal Ghost version. It's really solid. So, guys, check out BigSpin's information in the description below, his player stats on statsroyale.com, as well as his social media and all his YouTube stuff will be listed there, as well as the deck link. I'll link both versions of the deck. Guys, huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information as well. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Really appreciate it. As always, take care, guys.